Hi, my name is Rashard Baker, and I'm a veteran outreach specialist and pathfinder at El Centro de la Raza's veteran program. And I believe art impacts trauma in a very cathartic, very meaningful way. I think art gives us all a form of expression, gives us all a pathway to take our fears, concerns, hurts, and allow them to transform them into things of beauty. Allows us to emote in a way that can connect with other people. Some people that have shared the experience and other people who can be empathetic about the experience. I think art is one of the foremost communicative tools that anybody, regardless of socioeconomic backgrounds, anywhere people can express art, whether it's singing, writing, poetry, visual arts, painting, sculpture. We all have the ability within ourselves to express ourselves in an artistic form. So I just really, I'm impassioned, I'm emboldened to be part of Path with Art. It is like the pinnacle of my work within the veterans community because I'm allowed to go out and connect veterans who may be suffering from all forms of trauma and connect them with an organization that really gives them the platform and the tools to express that pain and turn that pain into something beautiful. And I'm fortunate to be part of the steering committee. I'm fortunate to come up with ways with my fellow colleagues of how we can transform the lives of us all. Because I believe that in our ability to assist, we transform our lives. We become more empathetic. And if we can share that empathy with others, I think, in small measures, we can create a larger context of help and empathy in the broader community. So that's why I'm here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jacques Pugh. I'm a proud board member of Path with Art. Welcome once again to hashtag Art Transforms. And this particular segment is a very special tribute to Memorial Day, which we celebrated yesterday. But before we move forward, I'd like to invite you to join us here in Seattle to acknowledge the people that stewarded this land for so long, the Coast Salish and the Duwamish peoples. Now, here at Path with Art, we have a very special and robust program of arts engagement opportunities for people who are in recovery from homelessness, poverty, domestic violence and abuse, and substance abuse, as well as other traumas that have impacted all of us here in our society. Now, we simply believe that art in all of its manifestations and the creativity born out of art, whether it be through painting or writing or theater or singing, it all has a transformative and profound effect to reconnect one with oneself, to build bridges to community and expand on that community, and especially to navigate one into a life of stability. So today we are asking for your help in keeping these critical programs running by contributing to our spring fundraising campaign. Now, I did mention that this is a special Memorial Day tribute, and Memorial Day is very special to me. I am a veteran. I'm retired Army. I am a veteran of deployments to Bosnia-Herzegovina and then later to Iraq. And no one hates war more than a soldier who's been there. And Memorial Day is the day to recognize the ultimate sacrifice of those in uniform, brothers and sisters who never made it home. And on that note, we have a very special program lined up for you.
My name is Andrew, and I am many things. I'm a clinical research social worker, a U.S. Army combat veteran, a father, and an artist. Art and music have profoundly impacted my recovery and continued self-care to a degree that is difficult to put into words. It has given me a place to put very heavy things that I've carried with me for too long. I get to make perfectly imperfect things to be loved and appreciated just the way they are, just as we should love and appreciate each other, imperfections and all. I have chosen to serve on the Veterans Program Steering Committee because I want all of my fellow veterans to have access to the arts in a way that values their unique voices and experiences. I believe that a path with art is a path worth taking. Join us on the journey.
So last spring, around this time, we developed a very specific Veterans Cohort program, which provides a safe and creative environment in which veterans could unpack their trauma and experiences and explore their creative identity, or creative identity, if you will, through art, but especially in a safe community with other veterans. So we were honored to partner with the Seattle Opera in their winter production of The Falling and the Rising, which is a marvelous opera that really delves into what today's veterans are experiencing in the warfare climate we are experiencing today, especially our female veterans who are taking more and more of a prominent role in combat situations. And I'd like to acknowledge now the people that were figureheads in getting this program off and running. And that was Alex and Alejandra of the Seattle Opera, and also Ryan of Veterans Rights. That's spelled R-I-T-E-S.
My name is Ryan. I'm a failed theater major from Marquette University. This actually led me to joining the military, the Seabees to be exact. I did 3 tours. Then I went on a massive healing journey. Still going on this journey. But art and creativity and expression have been foundational to getting back to my heart. And that's what we do with Veteran Rights as well, is we initiate veterans back to who they truly are and their identity, what their purpose is, and to know that they are absolutely loved and belong, just as they are. To welcome them back in a true initiation. And to do circle work out in community so there is a space that you are absolutely seen for all you've carried and all the gifts that the work Path with Art helps bring out, light the fire, help these warriors feel alive. And it's an honor to be on the steering committee, and I'm such a big fan and look forward to the future as we welcome more of our people back home and so they can share their gifts with the world.
We developed other artistic collaborations with Decruit, that's D-E-Crute, the opposite of recruit, and also the Red Badge Project. Our veteran cohort continues to grow even through COVID-19, and today you're going to hear from some of the individuals involved as we seek to honor those individuals and their families that have served and sacrificed.
My name is Melody Clark. I'm a Path of Art student ambassador. I was in the U.S. Army. I'm a member of the Veterans Steering Committee. I am a member of the steering committee because it gives me a sense of purpose. It helps me to serve in a way that will help my brethren, and it helps Path with Art, the organization. And I also believe that art transforms your life, and it's transformed mine. It's given me more confidence. It's helped me with my PTSD and depression. I used to have PTSD attacks almost every day, and since getting involved with Path with Art, I don't have them every day. They've gone down in volume, and I believe that if I didn't have Path with Art right now during this pandemic, that I would not be faring as well as I am right now. So art does transform. It helps your mental health and your life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackie Dela Cruz, and I am an Air Force veteran and serve on the Path with Art Steering Committee. I serve on the committee because it addresses 2 of my greatest passions, being in service to veterans and doing art. I believe that art is one of the most powerful tools that we can use to address our trauma. And what is trauma? It is our disconnection from our true selves, from our creativity. I am so in appreciation of Path with Art and their creation of programs for veterans. I have been participating in the Red Badge Writing Program, and through the encouragement of Warren and the other classmates of mine, I have been able to finish 2 plays, and also I'm in the middle of writing a book. But Path with Art has also encouraged me to continue with my mixed media art. It is these whimsical art that I do that gives me such joy and pleasure and are really healing to my spirit. Thank you again, Path with Art, for all the programs that you offer to the community and to veterans. Gracias.
First, I mentioned the Red Badge Project, and now I'd like to introduce Warren Etheredge. Warren?
Hello, I'm Warren Etheredge, one of the primary instructors with the Red Badge Project. The Red Badge Project was founded 7 years ago by the actor Tom Skerritt and retired Army Captain Evan Bailey. The Red Badge Project was established to help veterans cope with PTSD by teaching them storytelling skills. I've had the honor of founding the film school with Tom years ago, and we thought that some of those same tools would be helpful for veterans. It's been very exciting in this past 6 months to partner with Path with Arts to bring Red Badge to a broader group of veterans out there, and the classes have been absolutely amazing. In my time with Red Badge, I've learned a lot. I have not served myself. I'm not a veteran. I'm just a plain old civilian. But I learned a lot, not only about veterans, but also about Memorial Day. And it's a holiday that we don't take seriously enough. And it is to remember those who have died, who have served. It's not about big box stores or barbecue. It really is very solemn. And so wanted to come up with a writing project that honored the holiday properly and asked the veterans in our group to each write a memorial for someone they know and love who served and died. It was inspired by Marion Winnick's book, The Big Book of the Dead, which is a fabulous collection of her memorials for people she has loved and lost. And so this was the project that we went with. The students did great work, and I'm very, very proud of the veterans. All of them turned in great works. We only have 2 representing the whole group today, Jessica and Howard, and they are fantastic. And I hope you embrace these tributes for what they are, true honors.
Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm a U.S. Coast Guard veteran and a mother and a friend, and I'm calling out of Federal Way, Washington. My memorial to date is called Unknown. Though your grave is unmarked and your body is unfound, your gun and your helmet mark the battleground. Your freedom and your life in the midst of the dangers, lovingly volunteered for family and strangers. Your poor family's fears and nightmares came true. They don't know exactly how. They just know they lost you. There's so many people who don't know what you did, how you never made it home to say goodbye to your kid. They have no idea that what you did with your life was for those who didn't know and meant heartbreak for your wife. So for those who didn't know you, outside of soldier, you held many titles: friend, family, spouse, parent, and some child's American Idol. For the holes left in hearts from the event of your demise, for the friends who fought beside you, who let out unheard cries, for every unnamed soldier, for every unmarked grave, for every tear and cry out loud for the life you so lovingly gave, to the parents of young soldiers that went missing in the war, to those who had their hearts ripped out like a pain never felt before, to our veterans who fought over oceans and deserts for friends and families, to the ones who left behind children that they never got to see. This memorial is for you, for a great sacrifice. We salute you and we thank you for giving up your life.
Hello, I'm Howard Harrison, and I live in Redmond, Washington. I'm an Army, Vietnam veteran, and a medic. My piece today is called Memorial Day. They told us not to make friends so it wouldn't hurt when they died. I didn't know you that well. A dozen conversations. Most would say we were just acquaintances. We were medics in different platoon in E Troop 17th Cav, 173rd Airborne Brigade in Bong Son, Vietnam. Our time in the 17th Cav only overlapped by a few months, but somehow we connected. Back in the world, you lived in Alabama. You were a Southern boy who everyone liked and respected. I was living in New Orleans at the time. We planned on going to medical school together when we got out. We were 21 and we had a future. On May 6, 1968, your future stopped and mine was changed forever. The Jeep you were on was blown up by an anti-tank mine. I worked on you to no avail. After working on other casualties, as I was sitting by a stream bed, I tried to come up with a reason for what you died for. I couldn't. We both had agreed that the U.S. involvement in the war was a mistake. At that time, I had resolved that I would die in Vietnam too. Since you had died, there's no reason that I wouldn't die too. It wasn't until I was a short timer that the feeling that I might survive returned, and I had the will to live again. I always wanted to meet your parents, and eventually did meet with your family and friends in Alabama. After sharing my memories of you and what happened, they told me that when you left for Vietnam, you told everyone that you would die there. I visited your grave in a beautiful country churchyard. Throughout my life, I have carried the memory of you, Hal. Surviving the war has given me a stronger sense of purpose to make more of a difference in my life. Every Memorial Day, I say, I remember Hal Mundy.
Wow, Warren, Jessica, and Howard, that was so beautiful. The spoken word, a work of art unto itself, and a very useful tool in helping veterans transform and use the power of art to come back into their own. Now, as I mentioned, we began our specific veterans cohort around this time last year, and the very first partner to engage us in this moving work of art and toto to help our veterans transform was the Seattle Opera. And to explain a little bit more about this, I'd like to introduce the Seattle Opera's Liz Frazer. Liz?
Hi there. My name is Liz Frazer, and I am the choir director for the Veterans Choir with Path. A little bit about how the Veterans Choir came to be. Last summer, I've been a Seattle Opera teaching artist for about 3 years, and last summer I was contacted by the opera, and they said, hey, we're going to do this chamber opera called The Falling and the Rising, and it's about a veteran who's in a coma and has suffered a traumatic brain injury. At the end of the opera, we're going to invite a chorus of volunteer veterans, some of whom may have never sung before, to sing the final chorus of this opera. And they asked if I wanted to lead that volunteer chorus. And I was like, yes. I was so excited because this is one of those rare opportunities where a job and my principles lined up. How exciting is that? So I went in not knowing exactly what to expect. I've worked with volunteer choirs for years, so I know I enjoy working with beginning singers. And really, it was not only a transformative experience for the choir, but it was really a transformative experience for me. Hearing from these veterans, hearing their stories, hearing what they have to bear, I learned so much. And then watching them lighten up as they sing, as they create this community in music. Well, it was a really great experience, and I feel very lucky that I was a part of it. The opera was, of course, a tremendous success. When the Veterans Choir came in at the end, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was fabulous. I get emotional just thinking about it. And it was such a success that they asked if I wanted to continue with the Veterans Opera. And so here we are, still growing, still meeting every week, online, of course. So yeah.
And joining us now is Sarah Blum, who is a charter member of the Veterans Choir. And she's also a Vietnam veteran. And like myself, she wore Army green. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Thank you for your service. And can you tell us exactly what you did in Vietnam?
Yeah, I was an operating room nurse in Vietnam at the 12th Evacuation Hospital, which is in Cu Chi, Vietnam. And so we took casualties that came to us like within 3 to 5 minutes of being wounded. But that's what I did basically. And it was constant. We had a constant flow. The area I was in was right on the edge of the Iron Triangle where all the fighting was. So my hospital was the largest user of fresh blood in all of Vietnam during the year I was there, 1967. So we got constant barrage of casualties.
Well, nobody, as you know, and I know as well, nobody hates war and its ugliness more than a soldier who's been in it and taken care of the wounded as well. And we all know that many of us served in uniform unfortunately come home with those invisible wounds of trauma here and here.
Right.
I know the same is said for those like yourself who are in the hospitals. How have you dealt with the trauma from having to deal with so much carnage on a daily basis?
Well, Chris, I went through years and years of therapy. When I came back in 1968, I was the head nurse of the orthopedic ward in Tacoma, Washington, at Madigan Army Hospital. And then after that, I went back to school and I got my degree and I became a nurse psychotherapist. And I actually studied PTSD then. And I realized that that was what was happening to me. And so I went through years of therapy. Probably about 5 to 7 years of therapy. And that was how I dealt with a lot of what I was feeling emotionally back then. But then in more recent years, I turned 80 this year, and I'm 80 years old, and I
you look a day over 60. The same.
Thank you. In this past year, I retired from I had a private practice in psychotherapy, and I spent years actually working with veterans and other people who have post-traumatic stress disorder and helping them heal, because I'd learned so much from my own experiences and also from what I studied professionally. And so in this last year, what was so remarkable for me was that I was introduced to Path with Art through Ryan, who is the one who started Veterans Rights, the Veterans Rights organization. And he invited me to come to sing with the chorus. It was called a chorus at that time. And he told me it was an opera. They were going to do an opera. And I said, well, I don't sing opera. And he said, well, there's a lot of other veterans that just come. And so he sent me some links, and I looked up the story. I looked up the story of what the Falling and Rising was. And that's really where I got hooked in, because I saw it was a story of a female veteran, female soldier who is wounded in the Middle East where she was serving. And so I went to the chorus and I discovered that being with the other veterans and putting my voice in there with theirs was turned out to be really healing for me. Like, so I'd come to a point when Ryan made the introduction, I was at a point where my body was having issues, having health issues, and it seemed like it was going to be the end of my active physical life, which I was very sad about because I've always been athletic and active all of my life. And so I couldn't imagine my life without doing the things that I love to do, like rowing and playing pickleball and things like that. So I was at that point where I didn't know if I could do that anymore. But here I was in a whole new situation, singing with other veterans, and it was feeling really good to me, being with the other veterans and being able to sing. And then Liz was so great. I mean, she's so wonderful the way that she teaches and brings us along. And it was amazing how she took us, kind of this ragtag group of veterans, and made us into a choir that could sing on stage in an opera with the Seattle Opera like that. To me, that was amazing. But it was also really healing, as well as seeing the audience response to our veteran choir. Those were so impactful for me, and that's something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life.
It was for me as well, because as you know, I was part of the choir in the beginning, and then I started teaching, and I had to lead the choir, but I was there to witness the very powerful and very viscerally effective performance of which you were part. Now, as a veteran myself and having had my own bouts of PTSD, if you will, and when I was going through therapy, I had one great therapist in particular who recommended that I get involved with artistic pursuits. And I decided to go back to school, earn another degree in fine arts. And being in an artistic community and teaching an artistic endeavor at this point has really helped me so much. So can you please tell us how you view, in all of your wisdom, how you view the work that we do at Path with Art, and how it helps really heal a lot of the invisible wounds that so many veterans experience, and what they can benefit from this in a transformative sense?
Yeah, I really think it's the essence of Path with Art, because it's so welcoming. It's so welcoming and accepting. And so what a lot of veterans need, even to this day, is that feeling that they're welcome in this place. It's a safe place to be. They can be themselves no matter what, and they will be accepted. And to me, that's the most healing thing. And then you put on top of that, whatever the artistic endeavor is, whether it's writing, because I'm also in the writing program, or whether it's singing or some other art form, it's a way for that veteran to express, and they're expressing it within an environment that's welcoming and accepting. And those are, I think, the real keys to the healing and what we get out of it. And like, using our voices, that's, like, for me, that's not something I've really done a lot in my life. I've played musical instruments, like I've played piano and guitar and ukulele and banjo and African drumming and African balafone, but those are all bringing out the voice of the instrument. And in singing, it's our own voices. And so that's a whole different thing. And to be able to do that in a safe, accepting, welcoming environment helps to release it, helps to actually release my voice. And that's true with the others. And like in the beginning, I was really listening to other people sing, other veterans sing, so I could like, where's mine fit in here, and try to match up with them. But now I'm able to actually trust my own voice much better now, which is a good thing.
That's awesome. I know that you're going to sing for us, but I have one more question for you. And this is very poignant, and it's more associated with the solemn nature of this day. For those of us who have been to war zones, served in war, we made it home. And of course, this day is to honor those who did not. We are here, and we are standing on their shoulders of love and sacrifice so that we can come back to help our society understand exactly what all of those who gave their lives did for our way of life here in America. So what do you have to say in terms of your own heartfelt special Memorial Day message?
Well, if we could really know those who gave their lives, if we could know them like we do each other now, we would know what a huge loss it is to have lost them from our communities, right? Our families and our communities. And they gave the ultimate sacrifice. And we just need to think about that, hold them in our hearts, and honor them and honor the sacrifices that they made for us and for our freedoms, and not forget. I mean, I'm glad we have a day like Memorial Day so that we're all focused on that, and that we can just really honor the memory of who they are.
I hear you, and thank you for saying that, because you're absolutely right. If all of us here could know the people lost, and I have people that were lost in Iraq as well, and know how beautiful they were and what their lives meant and what they could have been if they'd been able to come home. If we all here know how much of a treasure that was for them to spill that blood and not make it back, then this day is always worth it. So Sarah, thank you on that note. I know you're going to sing something beautiful for us, and I just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and I look forward to working with you and speaking with you again.
Thanks, same here. Yeah, so I've been part of the Veterans Choir, and it's been wonderful to be with everybody in the same room, and with Liz Frazer up front, leading and guiding us. And then, of course, in the time of COVID and stay at home, we can't do that. So we're each in our own homes with our computers, and we go on Zoom. And Liz is still guiding us and directing us, but we're basically singing by ourselves now. And then eventually it'll all get put together, so we'll be a virtual choir. And so Liz sends us little video clips of parts of the song that we're learning, which is called the Peace Song by Greg Gilpin. And then we practice it on our own, and then eventually we'll be able to put it together. And lately we've been getting through the whole song, and I'm looking forward to the time when we can actually put it all together as a virtual choir and see and hear it. So I'm going to sing a little bit of this song for you, and I'm going to be watching Liz in the little clip that she sent me, so she's going to be directing me as I'm singing this. Peace in our hearts, peace in our lands, peace in our lives, peace in our lands. Peace unto you, peace unto me, peace unto all the world's family. So many people have helped shape our lives, striving for truth. They have lived and died. We remember their faces. We strive to continue what they strive to gain. Peace in our hearts, peace in our hands, peace in our lives, peace in our lands. Peace unto you, peace unto me, peace unto all the world family. Shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in our hearts, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for sharing in this with us. And we really hope that it touched your heart. So I have a request. Please help us by donating to support our continued online access in free arts and community programming to help people who are living and recovering from trauma, now more critical than ever. Not just necessarily veterans, but so many people in our community, of which veterans are definitely part of our community. So thanks to a pool of generous donors, all donations $250 and above will be doubled. Okay, and if you're able to give $1,000, that gift will be tripled. And here's how it breaks down for you. $150 underwrites a veteran in an 8-week writing program. $250 pays for a tablet and online access for a low-income individual working towards stability. And we all know how important that is. And $1,000 underwrites teaching artist fees for an 8-week painting class. Okay? Please keep that in mind, but also please know that every dollar helps if it comes from your heart especially. This is an extraordinary program that we are involved in. We are doing great work. You've heard these testimonials. Please, please, please. Now more than ever, it is so important for you to support us as we support others and build this beautiful community. And I also want to take this time to thank all of our generous sponsors who have been so consistent, especially in this challenging economic time, to help us provide all the access and all the artistic teaching that we possibly can for our folks who really need this stability and transformative action in their life. And I'd like to especially thank our presenting sponsor, Business Air. I'm also asking you to post a photo of a veteran whom you would like to pay tribute to and their families and their sacrifice. I myself have a veteran, a good friend that was lost my deployment in Iraq, 2004, First Lieutenant Andre Tyson, who was one of the best platoon leaders the Army ever produced. So please, please keep that in mind. That's what the day was for. So what's coming up next? This Saturday is our last segment, and we are asking you to join us for a very unique lesson. It's called Drawing with Scissors with renowned Seattle artist Celeste Kooning. Not running with scissors, drawing with scissors. So I want to say thank you so much for being part of this. You being here with us has made it even more special than I, for one, could have even have imagined. And I want to thank all of those who participated in this very unique program with us. So until the next time, thank you. I'm Jacques Pugh, board member of Path with Art. We do extraordinary work transforming lives.